The female superhero or female characters in general are in an interesting place. This is largely a Western issue, but it's obvious that modern creators, especially from the mainstream, are setting them up for failure. Is this due to incompetence of the creators? It could be. It could also be purely ideological and the creators cannot get out of their own way. Maybe it's a combination of both. But whatever it is, it's created this interesting state. Now it's to the point to where if you see something that's female-led, movie, video game, or comic, a lot of customers' first instinct is to treat it with much skepticism. It doesn't mean they reject it. It means that you have to show them first before they commit to getting behind it. There's nothing wrong with that, and gaslighting customers for recognizing the modern day patterns is nonsensical. So what got us in this position? Female-led content being adored by the fans isn't new. There were old crime noirs with female leads in the 40s. You've got a crazy amount of film and TV shows from the 70s to more recent things like Alien to Wonder Woman to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's especially no shortage of gaming female-led characters from Samus to Lara Croft. I'm not even including the Japanese-made content. All this said, the dishonest will claim that if any of this material came out now that I just mentioned, it'd be deemed as woke. This is not just a lie, it's a cope to deflect from the material that people have really put out there that has been rejected by the fans. They only are pretending to not understand this, but I figure we explain it anyway. In the early to mid 2010s, a bunch of activists masquerading as creators had successfully infiltrated all of entertainment.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.
The ones that were already there decided to join in as they thought it to be advantageous to their careers. And after a certain orange guy won in 2016, everything accelerated. The goal was no longer to entertain. It was to use entertainment as a vehicle for their activism. Unfortunately, many female characters suffered because of it. They were made to be these Mary Sues, or they were beating you over the head with some sort of agenda. They were just unlikable characters. This impacted new characters and characters that were already around. It got really, really bad. How to handle a female character and the leeway you're given is going to largely be determined by the medium they are in. More importantly, who the general target audience is going to be. This requires an understanding of markets, which is a lost art. Perhaps the uber feminist tropes could hit it as some romance novel targeting other women. I don't know, but even that's a stretch. That's the problem that the mainstream modern creators ran into. They ignored demographics. Feminists aren't the baked-in customers for Star Wars. Feminists aren't the baked-in customers for comics. Though, of course, there are women that are into these hobbies. It's largely a male-dominated space. And the women that are into it aren't into some perfect Mary Sue or some lectures about how men should curb their toxic masculinity. So effectively, they've been making material for an audience that doesn't really exist. When the audience has rejected it, they deploy the usual tactics. Access Media ran interference for them. The creators took any disagreement as an attack from some evil group of misogynists. Both of them seem to have actual content for their paying customers. But make no mistake, the climate that we're in is due to their inability or flat out arrogance. For those of you that don't know me, I'm not some random guy. As an independent, I've created several female characters that are part of my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Yaira is one of our mainstays, and her first campaign produced $1 million comic. Bloodroot has an active collection right now that's nearing, as of me recording this video, $600,000 in total sales and closing in on 11,000 books sold. Ingrid Valdez is part of Alpha Core, a trio that has also produced $1 million comic. All of them have their respective fans. It doesn't mean that they are going to be liked by everybody, and for sure, just because someone does dislike them, it doesn't mean that they don't like female leads. Regardless, they've seen big success. So for all of that chatter about people not wanting female leads, we've proven otherwise, and we don't have the backing of some billion-dollar corporate entity. The key is to create them as actual characters. It's okay for them to be feminine. It's okay for them to be vulnerable, regardless of how powerful and capable that they are. They don't need to tear down men for the sake of elevating themselves. understand your market, and create for it instead of trying to make it seem like the audience must be worthy of your creation. Many of these modern creators start with some personal social agenda and then work backwards. And that's why their characters often come across as forced. Instead, just create a compelling character like you would have to create a male character that's compelling, and give the audience a reason to back it that isn't centered around some political or social messaging. This is easier to achieve when you realize that your number one goal is to entertain. I honestly don't see the mainstream getting out of this rut because they are too invested. Anything that they do handle well with regards to like a female character, that's going to be a one-off or an accident at best. But there's plenty of independents and smaller creators that can right this ship and show you how it's done. Either way, nobody is owed the support of anybody, especially when they are spending their hard-earned money. Just because you create an original female character does not mean that people will like it. But the least you can do is not blow up your project from the get-go. Learn from the mistakes of the mainstream. Thanks for watching. Be sure to head over to Rippaverse.com to check out our comic book company. We have books, plenty of merchandise, and even some glorious animations from Rippaverse Studios.